It's getting hot every year. Every year, the weather is breaking its own record, and we all know where this is headed, right? So, before the destruction of the world begins, let us record this podcast. Hello, everybody. My name is Sang, and you're listening to Take 5 Podcast from whichever place that you're listening to this from. Are you from one of the corners of the earth, or you're from another planet? Welcome. We are inclusive here. And whatever time that you're listening to this, instead of sleeping, are you awake at 2 a.m. in the morning and you just have insomnia? Perfect. This podcast is perfect for you. Or you're from our Instagram family or YouTube family. We have 2 families now, Instagram and YouTube. All our links are in the description. Follow us from whatever platform that you're comfortable with. Thank you so much if you are an old listener and you have chimed in again. Or if you're new here, this is Take 5 Family. We are more than happy to have you here with us. You are the reason why I like doing what I do, because you give me your time to listen, and I want to give you my time to talk about, just ramble about things. So I'm grateful for you, for your existence. So today we have very interesting things to talk about. So if you're ready, I am ready. Let's go. I saw this post where some rich countries, they were sprinkling water into the air to make the temperature go down a little bit. And the comment section was like, humans will do anything but plant trees. So that was kind of funny. Like, we would do anything to beat this weather, but plant trees. The number one cause of why this is all happening in the first place. So here's to getting burned together. At least we're in this together, right? Okay. Today's podcast is something that's personal. I mean, every podcast, every episode that I've done is about it's kind of personal. It's about my life and our experiences, Osa and I. But I don't know. Every time where I record a new podcast, it's like stripping parts of myself for my listeners to see. And to be honest, it's kind of something that's uncomfortable to think about. Like, you, especially when you do it alone and you don't have a guest, you're just talking for 20-30 minutes about whatever topic that you have picked, that you have prepared, and you're just giving your opinion about it and things like that. And like, I could talk about random things. I could talk about politics or impersonal things, but I don't think I'll make the best conversation talking about politics or impersonal things. It's not that I don't care about the world that I'm in. I don't know. I feel like that's just not my cup of tea. But the thing is, if I talk about life, which is my cup of tea, I can't help but I have to strip myself naked, right? The parts that I have experienced or things like that. And it's just scary to think who will be listening to this podcast. I don't know who would be listening to this podcast. Like, I know for sure some of my friends and family would be listening to this podcast. And some of the subscribers, we are a slowly growing family. So I know the number is not that big of a number, not a big number. I know that. But just the thought that people that I'm acquainted with, that I'm not so close, like will be listening to this podcast and they'll have opinions about me is just kind of not so comfortable about, to be honest. And also, um, I'm sorry about the background noise. I'm recording this just in my room. So yeah, you'll have all these background noises. I'm sorry about that. And so yeah, just to think that people that I'm not so close with will be listening to this and they'll be judging me. It's kind of scary thing about, to be honest. But the reason why I still do this is because, when you're going through something and you're like, am I the only one experiencing this feeling or this experience? And like whenever I read or hear about life and experiences or perspectives on life from books or movies or videos or whatever, and I 1000% relate to it, it makes me happy that someone out there, someone I will never meet, has experienced what I experienced and decided to bring it to life, maybe in the form of a book or a video or whatever is that, a movie or whatever. And I'm so happy, I'm so glad that somebody decided to do that, because it makes me feel like that I'm not the only one in this experience. It makes me happy that there is someone out there that I can relate to. It gives me a sense of comfort. I feel not so lonely in my experience. And so this is the reason why, even though I share so many things about what I think about certain things on this podcast, I do it with the belief that somebody out there relates to what I'm saying and does not feel left out. And so, with that inspiration today, we're going to talk about failure. Today, the concept of winning, being successful, boss babe, alpha mindset, or whatever the term they give it, has become so mainstream that failing has become something detestable. Nobody likes failing or failure or a person who has failed. We hardly hear stories about failure and how the person takes it in and reacts to it. In fact, the idea of failing at something is unimaginable now and nightmarish. I get it, no one wants to fail. No, none of us wants to fail. I don't want to fail. But failing is a part of life, just as winning is. We know how to celebrate wins, but we don't know how to cope with failure. That's a question that I want to ask myself and to you, my dear listeners. Personally, I'm a sour loser. I'm very bad in losing. Because most of my life, I've always won. I've always got what I aimed for. And so sometimes when I lose, I don't know how to process that. But I've been learning. It's been a process, for sure. I have been learning how to fail. Boy, oh boy. It has messed me up in so many ways. Nothing hits harder than when you work for something and you give it your 100% and you believe that you're going to win, that you got this, you feel confident about yourself, you feel good, and when the results are out, you learn that you have failed. The world comes crashing down. It doesn't make sense to you. You question, how did this happen? You had it all under control, and your confidence and your sense of self-worth comes crashing down from the highest floor of the building and shatters on the ground like glass into a million pieces. I know this imagery is super dramatic, but this is exactly how I feel when I fail. I can cope with failure that I know is coming, but the ones that I don't see coming, the ones I for sure think I'll win, and I don't, other ones that just flat out destroys me. And I've had the sweet, sweet pleasure of experiencing those kind of failure. That experience taught me so much about myself. It humbled me in ways I would never have imagined otherwise to be taught. I don't think there is any other humbling method than to fail in things you thought you had it. When I think back now about how I reacted to it, I'm kind of embarrassed. I'm kind of embarrassed, to be honest. But I also understand her. Like, I understand how she reacted the way that she did. Because when you work really hard and it doesn't happen, and you don't know whom to blame, how are you supposed to take that? You know, when you're especially when you're somebody that have hardly failed in life and it hits you like that, you are not prepared for it. So I get why I reacted the way that I did in that moment. So failing as well is kind of uh, a teaching learning moment, you know, and I'm learning how to fail with grace. All these questions come up when you fail and you have no answers. You could blame others, you could blame yourself. Especially blaming others is so easy, very convenient. Just throw all the dirt on them and wipe your hands clean. You could just complain that life is not fair, that people are not fair, society is not fair, that your luck is shit. Or you could also blame yourself. You could question your hard work. You could do a lot of things. You could blame people, you could blame yourself, you know. And what I've realized from all the blame game is that it doesn't bring any solution. You blame people, you blame yourself, and so what's the next move? And so, okay, you could, maybe it's their fault, maybe it's your fault, and now what? What's the next step? What's the plan here? You know? It made me question in that way. For me, I was blaming, I don't know whom I was blaming. I was not blaming anybody. I didn't blame myself, nor did I blame people. It's just shitty luck, right? But now what? That was a question that I asked myself. What do I do now that I've failed? The thing about failing is that it teaches us a lot of things that we wouldn't have learned by winning. And I can't believe that I'm the one saying this. It's coming from my mouth, but I believe that failing is very, very, very important. It's very essential. It's imperative for our growth and self-reflection. We should fail a few times in the things that are important to us. There could be so many reasons why you failed. And maybe it's not even your fault. No, it's not you. Maybe it's them, or maybe it's just shitty luck, like how it happened to me. But whatever the reason is, what you do about it is very important. You know, the universe always rewards the ones who just don't give up. There's something magnetic about stubborn people. People who don't take no for an answer. The universe always finds a way to get the answers for them. And it may not necessarily be a big door of opportunity that arises. Maybe it's as small as a window. Maybe even smaller than that. Or maybe it's a big freaking door. Whatever. Maybe, I don't know. You know, universe has its own way of rewarding people who don't give up. But it does reward people who don't give up. And it may not necessarily come in a time where you were expecting it. Maybe it comes sooner and you're not prepared for it. Or it comes later when you thought it's over for you. Or maybe it comes in the right exact moment that you were praying for. But in whatever timeline that it comes, it does come. But it only comes for people who, despite failing so many times, despite facing so many setbacks, has still not given up hope on themselves and hope on life, and who believes that they could change the course of their life. So we have to be very persistent. We have to be very stubborn. And most importantly, we have to be very patient. We have to be extremely patient. And I know it comes with a huge price. You have to wait and wait and wait while your other peers seem to be doing amazing in life. And you think to yourself, where am I standing? What am I going to do? What is happening with me? Why is it not happening to me when everything is happening for them? These kind of questions, all of us, I think, thinks about and feels, but we don't really want to talk about it because it's kind of embarrassing, and also it's very vulnerable to talk about these things. And so I want to tell you that you are not alone in this experience. All of us feel that way. It's just we don't talk about it. We want to keep it to ourselves. So I want this podcast for anybody who has felt terribly in something that was extremely important to you. I want you to know that you are not alone in this journey. And I hope that you keep pushing through just as you all are, and that one day you and I will look back into this journey and we'll be happy and proud of ourselves that we didn't give up, nor did we give in. And so I'm going to wrap this podcast up by quoting a line from a movie, Rocky. So it goes something like this. Nobody is gonna hit as hard as life, but it ain't how hard you can hit. It's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. It's how much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. I think this pretty much sums up what I'm trying to say. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Take care. Bye-bye.